Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Hope everybody's doing good. It's Wednesday. It's halfway through the week. For those overseas, I guess you're more than halfway through because your Wednesday is almost done. You just got to wait for all those crazy Americans to wake up. Well, good morning. I'm Greg Mester, Agile Coach and Scrum Master, and we're here to talk about Agile and Scrum and ways to help you get home to your family, friends, and have some fun. And at the same time, build some business value. And we're on all the podcasts, so you can listen to this later, and a lot of the social medias. And if you can't find us, just let us know. But we want to have more fun and less stress in the work environment and home, and help everything go well, so we get a good balance. Two things I want to talk about today, and getting ready for recording my show today. But I want to talk about just from yesterday, just things I encountered. I'm going to adjust the screen just a tad bit there. There we go. That's better. So I don't think you need to see my whole shirt. But keeping things simple is one. And don't create stress. And the reason why I had some getting into a new system, and I'm watching these people, Scrum Masters and people, getting really crazy with filters and sorts and algorithms and all that. And I'm like, no, don't do this to the people. I'm like, keep it really simple. All developers want to see in their board is a simple list. What do I got to do next? And they want the simplest way to move the item across the board or across the progression from like waiting to be open or waiting to be worked on to in work to being done. And you keep the task simple to do that. And it's a very simple task because that's what prevents, I don't know about you, but I always hear about, oh, it's too much admin work to update a story. It's this, that, thing. That's why the Scrum boards are invented. One, to give visibility to everything because you can see where the pieces are on the board. But two, also to make it simple. You just grab the sticky and you move it over the wall. Grab a sticky and you move it. Grab a sticky and move it. You don't type in a million things. You don't record a million things. There's ways to set it up to make it as easy as possible, but that's all they really need. I had a developer who was on my team, and I think I mentioned him before, that he would just come in, and other people, I hear this from others, they'd build their thing, and they just want to know what work they need to do in what order. So if we do all the planning and everything right, and we prioritize the work, it's whatever's next on the list to go work. It's not a big question deal. Oh, I got to wait for my Scrum Master, or my product owner, or my senior lead, or somebody else to tell me what to do next. Now you pick the next one on the list, and that's it. And they're like, "Is that all?" I'm like, yeah, that's it. But the problem is we make these things too complicated. We make everything first priority, which doesn't help. But we try to do all these algorithms and fill in all this information. We got to collect all this data, and we need to know, and I got to know all that. Well, then you're just creating a self-defeating prophecy, right? I mean, I've seen so many systems where I've converted over in other places where they had 50, 60 fields on the screen, right? And it's cover every nuance. But you know what? When we ended up moving, and sometimes I love changing systems on people, it makes them look at what they had and realize they didn't need all that stuff, and they're really only using two. I've literally had one organization 50 customized fields in their system to track who knows what. In the end, they only wanted two of them when they converted over to the new system, or when I built them a new board to make it simpler. They only used two. So they went from 50 to two. So they overcomplicated the matter, and all they needed was two. I mean, really, what's the value, right? Because the big question is not about the little micro nuances and stuff. And an analyst can go figure that out without being in the board or in the team's business. It ain't that hard. Really don't. All you're doing is measuring how much work actually gets done, and does that work have value? As long as they're working on it and they don't play games, and trust me, a good Agile coach can pick up whether or not someone's playing games, or even other team members. Everybody knows who's playing the games. So my first thing here on 5 a.m. Mester Scrum is just keep it simple. Give them a simple board or a simple Kanban board type thing. Not a quote Kanban board, but it could work as a Kanban board. Don't hold me to Kanban on a Scrum, and that they can move the stuff across the wall. And that's all they really need. Come sprint planning day, a little different, and we'll talk about that on another session, like what all things would be helpful. And maybe I can talk about different tools and things like that. I do have access to multiple. So maybe I'll start adding that to the show. I'll have to do a little more prep work for that. The other one is don't create stress. So here at 5am Mester Scrum, hope you like and subscribe. As this is show 93, we're almost to 100. I got to put something out there for 100. A lot of people just like to make their own stress in the organization. They like to create stress. And I'm not a stress guy. And as you see, one of our missions is to create less stress in the environment. What I have on there, what I talk about, is the keys of why I do this. And I want to help everybody not be so stressed. I had a job interview many years ago at a site, and they wanted me to be a Scrum Master, Agile coach, Scrum. I don't know. What do they want me? I just take whatever, become whatever is needed to become. And they wanted to hire me, but there was another opportunity that was a little bit better, and I took that. However, I loved the manager because every year they would have a lot of auditors would come into the office from the government, and they had to print reports and data and do data drills. And when you have these auditors, you have to do it like instantaneous because they're for a week and you got to do it. So rather than have the dev team trying to do development work at the same time creating reports and data for these auditors, he, as the product owner, canceled the sprint. And I was like, yes, someone that's a product owner. And this goes to the heart of only the PO can cancel the sprint. Now, I would also tell the CIO or some other people that you're about to cancel a sprint. Just don't willy-nilly cancel it. But I was really taken aback because rather than creating stress for his team, he, as the product owner, canceled the sprint and said, we're not going to do any dev work this sprint. We're just going to work on satisfying the normal day-to-day issues and answer all these reporting calls and auditing questions because we know we're going to get them. Maybe they do one or two things, but they're not going to do a full-up development sprint. And I'm like, yes, that's what's supposed to happen. You don't need to keep working at that same pace if you know something big's coming. The beauty of Agile and how you do it is you see that stuff coming. When we do the retrospective, and I talk about the bottom right-hand corner of my retro for my sailboat, where I get, do I have it? Oh, Eddie took, of course, Eddie took everything. So when I do the whiteboard, I got a handy whiteboard. What kind of show doesn't have a handy whiteboard, right? So on the whiteboard, when I do my square, got my boat floating in the water, and I drew my boat with the 4 squares. And on this side's the good, the happy with the sun. And that's the top left-hand side. The bottom left-hand side is the anchor with my friendly octopus. Right? I got to put 8 legs. And this is the bad on the bottom left. Top right is acceleration. These are ideas that make everything go faster. Right? Go faster. And the bottom right is risk. What Agile brings to you is like, hey, we have an audit coming up next month. Are we going to do a lot of development work during that time? Or we have a major drop and all these other areas are dropping code. Do we need to do that normal, right? So those are the kind of questions we ask. And in here is where the stress comes from. You foresee stress points. Lower the workload. Don't try to keep going at the same speed. That's like, I'm a train. I draw my little train. It's sad I'm going to be drawing trains. I think there's my alarm. It means it's 6:15, everybody. We're late. Anyway, here's my train. I'm going to go 100 miles an hour or 100 or 200 kilometers an hour, right? Depends how you would do it. And I'm coming into a train station. There's people here, right? There's people over in the train station. I'm just drawing a train station, people. I'm coming 100 miles an hour. You don't go 100 miles an hour through the train station. You slow down and you take a break. Don't stress everybody out and make them all think you're going to run them over. So those are the kind of things that people just, they want to do things, and you don't need to do that stress, and you don't need to have everything perfect. I give you an example. Just doing a major migration, and people wanted the same reports day 2 of the migration. I'm like, why? You've done migrations a million times. Just let it go. Unless it's a critical system and needs to get out and really needs to be done. Well, one, you don't plan for this during critical periods. That's number one. As a program manager of over 30 years, don't do that. And two, you don't have to get let everything settle down. Let it calm down a little bit before you start going back to business as usual. When you have these major changes, it doesn't have to wrap up right away. And your team will be much happier. You'll be less stressful, and everybody will be happy. And one of the keys that people are afraid to do, and I'm going to close on that, just keep it short because all the alarms are going on, right? Tell your business. Tell the people. People are so afraid to tell anybody they got a hiccup, or hey, they want to calm it down a little bit because we got a major thing. People pretty much understand. If they're not understanding, then they're jerks, right? I'm going to tell you right now. If they can't understand, hey, we just did a major migration or a major turnover, or Windows just updated anything. So we have to go through and check everything and just take the sprint. And we're going to make sure everything's good before we start adding more code on top of changing servers and changing things so it all breaks, right? We want to make sure what we're doing is working. Most people are okay with that. There's not a problem. This is the beauty of Scrum and Agile. As you do stuff and deliver your commitments, they are going to believe you. They're going to believe when you tell them, oh, it's only going to take a sprint. Next sprint will be back to normal, will be good. Because you have been predictable. You have met your commitments in the past. You have developed a level of trust with the customer, with the business side, that they now know they can trust you when you tell them you're going to get this work done on this date and you are within 95% of getting that commitment done. They believe you. The problem today, the reason why everybody doesn't want to do it, they don't believe what anybody says, because they never meet their commitments. And the beauty of Agile and Scrum is we make it smaller and controllable, and we meet our commitments. That's what it is. And with that, it's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. We're under the 15-minute mark, so I'll give you back your 2 minutes at the end, like they always say in Daily Scrum. But please like and subscribe. Thumbs up, right? Thumbs up. 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Give us comments, feedback. Let us know what you think. And with that, you have a great day. Happy scrumming out there, everybody, and enjoy your midweek. Bye.